my channel. Today is a special day because it is our 9th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, buddy! 9 years later. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited, and although this doesn't really have anything to do with veganism, it does have to do with lifestyle and having a happy emotional life and thought life and relationship with your spouse. And so we wanted to do a video just kind of sharing things that we've found along the way that are really helpful to us and kind of make our marriage great. I mean, if I, not to brag, but I feel like we have a phenomenal marriage.
I think so too.
It's been one of the best decisions of my life to marry you. I'm just really I couldn't have imagined something so wonderful. When I met you, I would have never thought in a million years that we would be here 9 years later in love farther than we ever have been. So
and
you talk, I'm gonna cry.
We did change a lot too. We are, the same people as we met 9 years ago, but we really not.
We grew together.
We grew together, yeah.
We didn't grow apart, and I think that's where a lot of things can go wrong for people.
It's like two puppies meet together, and they're figuring out with each other, fight together, bite together, have fun with each other, and then suddenly they're growing together and they're realizing so many different things and aspects of life and what is important and what is not. So for those guys who say, oh, marriage sucks, you guys are losers. It's seriously, it's so not true. And the truth is that you just need to open. You just need to be open. You need to respect one another, and you need to love one another and listen to one another. This was the most important things. These were the most important things, I think, in our marriage that really took such a different turn.
Yeah. The first year of marriage was really hard and really awful, and I'm sure we both had times when we were like, you know what, this was a giant mistake.
Yeah.
And I think that probably everybody goes through that, and it might not just be your first year, it might be longer, it might be farther down the road. But I never thought that I would think those things, and yet I did. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing. It's just basically, we both were in a very hard time. We just, kind of quit job, and we were just like, okay, let's start our life.
Yeah, we moved. We had just moved fresh from performing overseas to Las Vegas, and
I couldn't work.
Yeah.
To me, it was my culture from Poland especially is and most of the European cultures are men provides, men do this, men work. I should bring money home, and I was so humbled, so much in my life because I actually couldn't work.
Because he was in the process of getting a green card. So in the process of doing that legally, it takes some time to even get a work permit and a social security number, a driver's license.
And on top of this, we moved in 2008 when the whole economy crisis went down. It was the worst.
Bad timing,
it was
all
the
around.
Worst time for Las Vegas. So we were like now what? The shows are closing. The hotels are, laying off people, people who already had jobs. We couldn't find the jobs. And me on top of it, who is legally but cannot work, it was really, really hard. So.
Yeah, it was rough. So I'd say money was a rough thing that we dealt with then.
Yeah, big
the
time.
way that we communicated was awful.
Yeah.
I had basically...
I smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, and this was my, my I'm cool guy here, and I'll tell you what to do, and you don't need to say anything, whatever, I'll take care of it, don't worry, and at the same time I didn't bring any money. Michele
and I couldn't confront anybody to save my life. I had a hard time with that. So right. Our fighting was really, really awful in that first year.
Like a one-way street.
But thankfully, we really learned to communicate. Yeah. We didn't go to a marriage counselor, but we did go through some marriage counseling through a CD because we really didn't have a lot of money to go see someone. And I think that really helped us kind of open lines of communication. Yeah.
What also was really helpful to me, to the guy, is that my ego was much, it's high. And I want to, be the best in what I do, and I want to do as much as I can and things like this. So on top of this, when we start fighting, I was a jerk basically, and all the guys can say it. A lot of guys who have a hot temper, they will go to the points of pushing the buttons until other person cries and things like this, which is awful.
Yeah, but to be fair, anybody can push anybody's buttons, whether you're a male or female. Yes, you definitely push my buttons, but I'm sure that I pushed yours in other ways as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's really easy to be a jerk to each other. It's really easy to be manipulated to each other. It's really hard to be loving when someone's treating you like an ass.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do the right thing when everything inside of you is telling you don't.
So to the guys who are watching this, to admit to the mistake is not a pussy thing. It's actually the most brave thing that you can actually do to yourself and to your family. I think it's the most important thing, to admit that you are wrong, to talk to your person and be open, be open about everything, just...
I think it all comes down to communication, because for me, like, I would just shut off completely. Like, when he would start yelling at me, I would just like shut down. I wouldn't talk to him for like days, and like, obviously that doesn't work very well. No, the most important thing in any relationship is being able to communicate honestly, and in a marriage, it's like, for me, that's the top priority. So something that we started doing in those early years, and we still do till this day, is once a week, we kind of have like a reset. For us, in our faith, we celebrate the Biblical Sabbath on a Friday night, and in that time, it's a really, you don't have to celebrate that if that's not your religion or whatever, but it's a time of reset. So it's a time where we shut off TV. Well, we don't even have a TV. We shut off electronics, and we just put some nice like piano music and sit down and talk to each other. We pray for each other. We talk about the things that we're proud of each other. We talk about things that are kind of hurting us, or things that we're worried about,
and not just about ourselves, but like in the work,
or in the world, or things not just within our own marriage. Like, everything that's kind of been building up over the week, we just let it out and we listen to each other, and I feel like that's such a key.
Yeah, it is. And it's truly like Michele was saying, if it's not in your faith, that's okay. But to me, there was way too many miracles, and I don't want to go on the subject about God, because I know a lot of you probably don't acknowledge that, but it was too many points of interest from me being not for God and being against and rebellious for it, to acknowledge later that there are some miracles in life, and they're big ones, and you just need to open your eyes and see them. By resetting this button, we acknowledging that we have higher authority, and we are people who need to admit to the mistakes, and apologize to one another for whatever happened, if something happened, because recently nothing happens, which is great. But if there's moment comes, you cannot just go away and walk out the
more you like
apartment.
Sweep something under the rug, the more those little things will start to aggravate you, and it's gonna blow up. So if you can catch them small on like a weekly basis, for us that really, really helps.
No matter what you did this week, like no matter what, suck it up and open your heart and start really pouring on that person, and she comes back to me, and you'll see everything is just disappears. All the veil of anger, of the veil of betrayed, and things like this, it will smoothly go away, because you're killing it with love. You're killing it with blessing one another.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, this is going to sound like a JFK quote, but it's really not like, what can this person do for me, or what are they going to do to make me happy? It's more, what can I do for them? How can I love them better? What can I surprise them with? What would it be like if I was in their shoes? That's something that you taught me a lot, because you're so good at that. Like, he's always talking about, how does the other person feel in this situation? Let me put myself, as much as I can imagine, in their shoes and see how I would feel if somebody said this and this to me. Yeah. You're really good about that with everybody. Like, you're so good about it, and you always do it to me. And I think that early on in the marriage, I wasn't thinking that way, and I'm really happy that you kind of showed me that and taught me that, because I think it's really important.
What should I say? What should I do for him or for her? To make him or her feel special. Yeah.
I'm not a materialistic person. I hate to have too many things. And for me, those quality moments and that quality time, and like, hey, let's go for a walk instead of stare at our phones for the next 20 minutes, and let's talk about, what's on our minds. I mean, those are the things that you remember and the things that are important.
That's why we are equals. We're helping each other. When she's working harder than I do everything else. When I work harder than she does She does everything else. I do feel a lot about how this other person would feel. What all of us know exactly when you start fighting, when is this point that you have a choice. Continue with the fight or stop.
And also on that same topic, I think you know when your words or when you're about to formulate a sentence that's going to be painful and hurtful to the other person. And a lot of times when you're in the heat of the moment, you don't care and you just want to hurt them.
I'm going to say it.
But words are so powerful. I mean, we all know that. How many things can we think about, like back from when we were kids, that still stick with us today? And when we wound each other with the words, it doesn't go away. Like it's always, it's always back there and you think about it. So I think like really taking that moment when you have that choice to decide what you're going to say, and is it really worth it to be so mean and so cruel, because those words really do make an impression.
You wouldn't ever do this to, with a love, when you really love that person. So.
Yeah, when you're like in your kind of like right, sensical mind about things, you wouldn't want to do that. This is the person that you chose to be married to and you want to spend the rest of your life with. You wouldn't want to do those things, but sometimes those emotions just rise. So without making this video super duper long, there are 3 questions that really helped us, especially in the beginning when we were having like major issues. And I just want to leave those with you guys. And the best thing about this is you ask one question and one person talks only. The other one just
has to
put tape over their mouth and shut up and listen.
Literally.
And then the other person talks about the first question, and then you just keep swapping. And the 3 questions are, what are you concerned about? And that can really be anything in your life, whether it's with your relationship or anything that you're concerned about. This is your time to just vomit it out.
And it can take half an hour, it can take 1 hour, it can take 5 minutes, but let this person talk. You just don't talk, you just listen. And I'm telling you, it takes 5 minutes to cry. Like, it's just because you finally opening your eyes and you opening your ears, especially to listen to what she or he is going through. And even if it's a little things, doesn't matter. You finally have this moment for yourself that you can realize that I'm listening, and that's huge.
And that really helped me too, because like I said, I was always the person who just kind of shut down and I wasn't able to express my feelings very well. But formulating it into 3 questions, I was able to articulate what I was feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then the second question is, what do you wish? So regarding what you're concerned about, what is it that you wish would happen?
Goals.
Goals, or just even if something is just a really crappy situation, like, okay, this isn't going to change, but if I had a wish that it would change, this is what I wish would happen.
Yeah, and the third question is, what are you willing to do about this wishing and hoping? So what is the next step that you want to do about it? And then both of you, you say, and then you see like, in the one way you might find out that your dreams are similar. There might not be, of course, but if they are, then you kind of find yourself on the same path. And then you're like, oh, you know what? That's what I want to do. Me too.
I also think like even sometimes the things that I would be concerned about, you were concerned about too. So you kind of, these are things that can go unspoken for so long.
That's true,
and then you realize actually when you are able to talk about it, I'm scared about this and so are you. Okay, good. I have a friend in this fear. That's helpful. What can we do to change it? Love is a verb. And it's very simple, but it's true because love is not really a feeling, and if you wait for it to be a feeling, it's going to fade. And if you think about love as something that you do rather than feel, I think that's another last little takeaway for a happy marriage.
Marriage is something that it's a promise to one another, but it's also a promise to God Almighty. Keep your promises. Like if you can't keep your promises, then this world is like, full of lies, because the promise means nothing to you, we all not perfect, and we trying our best to fix ourselves, and we try to keep our promises best as we can, but just don't give up. Like, drive through marriage and then drive through the, divorce and separation.
I think that marriage is like a difficult thing in some aspects, probably the most difficult, because you've made this choice to stay with this person, but it's also one of the most rewarding things that you can ever have if you both are fighting in a good way, fighting hard for it to work. So that's pretty much it.
That's our blast of our life.
I hope that this was maybe helpful to someone who's struggling in their marriage. Don't give up. And I know we haven't been married for like 50 years, so I know that, things, change as years progress and stuff like that. But I feel really happy that we've been married 9 years. It really does not feel like 9 years at all.
Yeah,
We've been together for 10, and and a half. And it feels like yesterday,
Yeah.
And I'm really happy. Like, what a great blessing to be able to do life with your best friend right by your side all the time.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I love you.
I love you too.
All right, guys.
See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.